I didn't plan this episode. No outline, no notes, just a lot of feelings I'm not really sure how to process yet. Because today, Ozzy Osbourne has passed away, and I wasn't ready for that. I don't think I ever could have been, no matter how much I knew it was coming. I've been listening to Ozzy since I was a kid. He was one of those main artists that really introduced me into heavier music. He was wild, he was chaotic, he was the guy biting bats and shuffling around on reality TV. But to me, he was a lot more than that. Ozzy's main quality to me was that he was honest. He never tried to be perfect. He never hid his flaws or cleaned himself up for anyone. And growing up, as someone who always felt a little too loud and a little too weird, Ozzy sort of felt like permission to exist that way, to own it. He was one of my heroes, not because he was the best singer or the most polished performer, but because of something else extremely important to me. He was real. He made mistakes, big ones. He talked openly about his addictions, his mental health, his guilt, and he still kept going. He still made music. He still showed up day after day. He found meaning in the chaos. And that meant everything to me. I remember when he first canceled No More Tours 2 due to health issues. And I remember he vowed he was going to get back on the stage, even if it killed him. Eventually, he did. Black Sabbath did Back to the Beginning, where they raised over $190 million for Birmingham Children's Hospital, Acorn Children's Hospice, and Cure Parkinson's. Which I read today made Back to the Beginning the biggest charity concert of all time, even surpassing Live Aid. This is the kind of loss that makes you sit still for a second. It makes you reflect not just on who he was, but who you were when you first heard him. I remember being a kid. I was blasting Crazy Train and feeling invincible as I rode to football practice. I remember crying to my mom coming home, even when I didn't quite understand why I felt so lost. His music grew with me, and I think I grew emotionally because of his words. So, yeah, I wasn't ready for this. I hit the record button tonight because it felt wrong to say nothing. This isn't super polished, it's just me trying to make sense of losing a hero. And I know I'm not alone in that. In a weird way, losing Ozzy feels like the end of something. It makes you stop and really look at how much music is evolving, how it's growing beyond what people thought it could be. Ozzy was one of the living links to the birth of heavy metal. His voice shaped the genre from the ground up. And yeah, he was messy, he was chaotic, but he was fearless. And that fearlessness, that willingness to be vulnerable, to be outrageous, to be painfully human, that's still out there, just in different forms. I mean, we've already lost so many of the greats. We've lost Dio, Dimebag, Lemmy, Cornell, Chester, Vinnie Paul, Neil Peart, Joey Jordison, Taylor Hawkins, and now Ozzy. Each one a pillar holding up the temple of heavy music. Each loss a crack in the foundation. But here's the thing, and it's something I take comfort in. We're watching a new generation step up, not to replace the legends because you can't, but to carry the weight and energy forward in new and unexpected ways, like a changing of the guard. I mean, you've got bands like Spirit Box, Sleep Token, Turnstile, Knocked Loose. They're pulling metal in completely new directions. Then you've got artists like President, Ghost, Poppy, and they're showing how far that influence has spread, even bleeding into the more mainstream. And then there's Youngblood, who gets dismissed by almost all the traditionalists, but I think he's one of the clearest examples of this evolution. I mean, Ozzy himself loved him, called him the future of rock, and that's not nothing, especially from the Prince of Darkness himself. Young Blood represents that kind of raw, emotional honesty that Ozzy championed from the start. He might sound different, he might look different, but he's carrying the same torch. He's not trying to be Ozzy, he's trying to be himself, unapologetically. And that's what he stood for. So we're in a new era now. And honestly, that's okay. Because what makes metal powerful was never the distortion or the screaming, it's the truth. It's the courage to be real, to be loud, to be ugly and beautiful and alive all at once. And that's still here, just with different voices. So, yeah, this is a hard goodbye, but it's also a moment of reflection, a moment to look at where we've been, where we're going, and if we keep that core, the heart of what Ozzy stood for, then the music will never die. It'll just keep evolving. I mean, to quote the man himself, life has a way of kicking you in the fucking nuts. So yeah, it hurts. And again, I didn't plan this episode. I didn't want to have to make it. I'd hope I'd never have to make it. But I had to sit down and say something because Ozzy mattered. He mattered to me, to the music, and to all of us who found a little piece of ourselves in the noise. He was messy, but he was magnetic. And he was real in a way that most people will never figure out how to be. And if there's one thing I hope people take from Ozzy's legacy, it's that you don't have to be perfect to leave a mark. You just have to be honest. You have to feel something and not be afraid to scream it out loud. And as the music shifts and new voices rise and sound changes shape, I think we owe it to Ozzy and everyone else we've lost to keep that spirit alive, to keep showing up, to keep being ourselves, loudly, unapologetically, and without compromise. So thank you for taking this moment with me. If you're grieving, I'm right there with you. If you're scared of what's next, I get it. But I also believe in music and in the people who are still making it matter. So rest in peace, Oz. May the world never forget your authenticity, your love for your fellow man, or your music. And to everyone listening, stay loud, stay honest, stay strange, and stay fucking loud.